All right. Hi, everyone. Thanks a lot for joining our stream in Women's Day. We just had a really good time throughout the day. We had great sets, great talks, a lot of fun. So this is our last talk of the day, and I have Lynn from Animistic Beliefs. So they're a duo from Rotterdam, and they have releases in Broken Toys, Cultivated Electronics, Deckmantle, Solar One Music, among others. So we're going to talk a bit about what they've been up to these days and a bit how they dealt with the pandemic. So yeah, really nice that you came and joined us today, Lynn.
Of course, thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. so yeah, so the first question that I have for you is about the music you make with Marvin, which is the other half of Animistic Beliefs. So how would you define your sound, and how do you think it evolved over time?
How I would describe it, I think in the broadest sense, well, it would be electronic music. I think it's also techno. And how we started out was more that it was, I think, like experimental techno, like ambient techno. And then it developed a bit more towards electro, so retro futuristic electro, um, which is more like a pure genre, in my opinion, a bit. And I think how it changed over the years. Like, for example, today I was listening to a set because well, I was checking like on YouTube the Warehouse Elementenstraat set that me and Marvin did,
Was
which
it the
was
one this year?
no, it was like last year.
Okay.
I think midst of the pandemic. I think
I'm
around.
still in last year.
Yeah, I understand. I think it was recorded in May or something. So it was in the club and it was empty, but we played a really hard set. And um, it was quite funny because usually I have to really get into the mood and feel the crowd in order to play a set like that. But because they provided a really nice vibe and everything was there, there were visuals, light show, everything, which made me feel like we were in a club, which is why we could, well, I managed to play like a bit harder than I would usually do for a stream, I think. Um, and I was checking that set, and I checked back like a red light radio set that I did a few years back, and I noticed like how much our sound actually has changed, and how I feel it changed is, I think it got more personal for the both of us. Um, Also with our own search for ourselves, I think, and also I think more embracing ourselves and the journey that we have gone through and all the influences that have shaped us the way that we were. We have incorporated that more, I feel, into the music that we're making now. And I think when people listen to our sets now, I think they would all agree that it has gotten more dark and more hard and more fast paced than it did before. But I feel this sound that we have right now is more true to ourselves in a way.
Yeah. I remember I saw an Instagram story of you where you are actually recording an instrument. I don't remember from where it was, but I think it was from your kind of from your I mean, I don't want to say homeland because you're Dutch, but from your ancestry.
Yeah, so my background is Chinese Vietnamese. Um, and yeah, I think the one that you meant was a dan bao, which is a Vietnamese string instrument. And I've been exploring more of the Vietnamese sounds and the music that my parents have listened to, but also more, yeah, from way back, from the indigenous people and the music that they made and how it was influenced during colonialism. Um, but yeah, that instrument, basically what we did is did a different tuning, and I recreated the sound of a dambao, but on a synthesizer. I created it on an Ovation Summit, and when I could play it it sounded like that instrument, but I do not own that instrument. And I think it's a funny way of incorporating that kind of music and those sounds into what I do now. And I mainly produce with synthesizers. And it's funny that I can use um, that sound, but still using the mediums that I use now.
Usually, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's super cool. Um, yeah, so, and I also noticed that, you're actually not shy in being political and being critical about your actions and posts.
Hmm.
Do you think, I think that it's really important that art is also political and also has a saying, it's a form of, it's a way of revolution in a way and like moving forward and make
Hmm.
things better.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I think all music has like activistic or like political like background also with techno music when you think about it, and many movements within the music have started in this way, I feel. um, and it has taken a while in all honesty to be able to express these things that I feel or that I support freely. I still struggle with it sometimes
Hmm.
because I feel that sometimes you want to speak freely, but you're afraid of maybe doing it wrong or
Yeah.
not saying it in the right way, and that you're afraid maybe someone will, I don't know, comment on something or tell you what you're saying is not correct or something. But I've learned that by trying and by trial and error, that you are able to move forward. Like it's okay to make mistakes, and it's okay if someone's gonna call you out on something, and you should be open to that and understanding and accepting of that that can happen. And I think that's a way how you can move forward, which is why now I've grown a bit more comfortable in doing so than I maybe did before.
Hmm.
But also in the climate and the society that we live in right now, I feel that it's really necessary as well. And also, now that I feel that my platform is growing a little bit, I feel also maybe responsible in a way to spread a certain message. Um, yeah, so that's.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with you. I think when, I'm looking for an artist and yeah, it's about the music, but it's about the person and it's about what they stand for. Which leads me to the next question. So when you're looking for music, like what inspires you in an artist? Like what are the things that say, wow, like that person I really admire?
I think it can be many things. It can, for example, be the way that this person um, works, and the way that this person, for example, really dives into a certain skill, for example, like technical skill, for when you say like mixing, someone that is really into something and really supports and really, not supports is not the right word, I think, like really is captivated by something,
Hmm.
and that it leads them somewhere and that they're inspired by something. That's always something that I can feel that is very sincere in someone's work.
Hmm.
Um, of course, I appreciate the sounds that people make, and but behind that, I think it's also really important to see the person and also the message that they spread, maybe. Um, and also, what I really admire in people is when they are daring. When they're daring with the music that they make, they are daring to make a shift in something or add something to it that's maybe not very conventional,
Hmm.
or mix certain things together. That's what I also really like. But I also really get inspired by people that come from a certain background where you know that it is more difficult for them to make music, to move forward, um, maybe because of certain uh, things like, let's say, family, for example. For me, also, it was difficult um, because music is not necessarily something that Asian parents are supporting per se. They would prefer you to be like a doctor or something like that.
Hmm.
And it takes a lot for you to prove yourself first in order to be able to follow what you want, I suppose. And that I also really feel is an important thing for me to see in people, that they're actually fighting for something, believing in something, and really going for it. Um, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. That's super nice. And I guess it's harder when someone really has to fight for their place. Um, so I have to agree with you. All right. So this
Oh,
just
sorry. I just wanted to add something as well. Well, also, when you think about, yeah, we're here like an International Women's Day. We're making this program full of lovely women um, that are believing in something and really striving for something. And even though it's like a male-dominated industry, I feel it's also very inspiring to see people still chase what they want. Um, yeah, and still believe in that and keep chasing it. I think that's also very inspiring.
yeah, yeah. Um, Wise words from Lynn. um, yeah. So in terms of sounds,
Hmm.
like you recently started to DJ, right?
Hmm.
So so before you're mostly, so for the ones who don't know, Lynn and Marvin mostly do live sets, and recently they started to DJ. So I was just curious, when you're looking for tracks now, what do you look for? What type of things kind of draw your attention?
What mainly draws my attention, naturally really get drawn to fast songs, in all honesty, dark songs also, songs that have a really good bass, let's say. So mainly the sets that I play, the undertone is sort of dark, but it can still be any genre. And I think when I play DJ sets is more diverse in a way. Of course, you can do anything. Like when you play a live set, you're still sort of bound to the instruments that you have. And when you play a DJ set, it can go all over the place, and
Right.
which is what I, which is what I really like. Um, Let me think. What would really draw my attention? Mm, I don't know. Like when I hear it, I really want it to make me feel like I want to dance. And it doesn't really matter what kind of music it exactly is, as long as I can feel that I can really dance to it,
Yeah.
then it fits a certain criteria already. But also when I play DJ sets, I like also to play more tracks. I want my sets to be more diverse, so not like male dominated, like certain scenes that we have right
Yeah.
now, like the techno and the electro scene, for example, but more also pay attention if my sets are more diverse. So I also want them to be, yeah, full of people who are of BIPOC background, for example, so Black, Indigenous, or people of color. Women, for example, I like to make it as diverse as possible, and I really want to push myself also to um, to really do that and search for the tracks and not go for the easy way out for all the things that I get. For example, promos of like are very male dominated, and I'd like to shift from that and find my own way and find the tracks because they are out there. And when
Yeah.
people say that it's very difficult to find tracks of women, I think that's nonsense. Um, and even if you have to put a little bit more effort, just make the extra effort to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you actually get to the end of your track selection and you think, am I being inclusive here? And then you maybe go back and say, hey, I actually want to.
Yeah, then I skip a few tracks and then I go back and I do it again.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice. All right. Yeah, let's talk a bit about, the months that have passed, which I guess were pretty hard for most people, and I guess very hard for you because, yeah, you're basically performing a lot, and now you don't have the possibility to do as much.
Hmm.
So, what was your biggest achievement in the last 12 months as an artist?
I think for me, I think as an artist, but also as a person,
Mm-hmm.
it was very important for me to be able to find myself again and to go back to my roots, research that more, find out who I am, because I have a feeling because we're in this industry, it's a very fast-paced life,
Yeah.
and that sometimes you forget about yourself, maybe who you are. and what made you what you are. So I think one of the biggest achievements for me personally is finding who that person is and to be able to embrace that and to love that person, but also to find ways to express myself more in the music and the pieces that I make. Um, One of the other things that I'm proud of is Cash Spirit. Cash Spirit is a project that I have together with Marvin and Jason Drent. Jason Drent is a new media artist and also a very dear friend of mine. And we've been working together on a few projects and also an installation. And in the installation, all the search for ourselves and our backgrounds really comes together in one thing. And I feel that it was very coincidental, but at the same time also not. I think that we were all doing the same and all doing this soul and background search and heritage search all at the same time. Because Jason is from Colombia, but he was adopted, and Marvin is Moroccan and he's half Dutch, and for myself, I'm like Chinese Vietnamese. So we all have these different backgrounds, and I thought it was very beautiful that we could all bring this all together in one project and that we were all doing this at the same time and that this was the perfect outlet for it to build an installation that
Right.
incorporated all of this together.
Right. So basically, he does the images behind, like the audiovisual show, and then he
Yeah.
tries to also incorporate elements from his heritage, I guess.
Yes, he incorporates like elements of his heritage, but also of mine and Marvin's. And yeah, Jason does the visual aspect of it, and me and Marvin do the musical aspect of it. And we try to incorporate elements also from his Colombian heritage, like for example, and he tries to make scans and stuff that also, um, yeah, show a bit of our background into the work, which is really nice, I feel.
Yeah, cool. So where did you do this live project at first?
What do you mean, live project?
So I saw that there was a stream. Was it?
Ah, okay, yeah. So first, Cash Spirit started. So if I go back to our collaboration, like Jason made a video clip for us, the one for An Eye for an Eye, and that's how our collaboration started. And then we made an audio-visual show together that premiered right before the pandemic started, and we premiered it in Berlin. And the audio-visual show got booked like a few more times for later that year, but because of the pandemic, it could not happen.
Yeah.
And then there was a festival called Art that invited us to challenge this and to make a COVID-proof version of our audio-visual show. And we thought about it and we decided to make it into an installation. And this installation first saw light also at Art in Dresden. So that's where it first, yeah, was an exhibition basically for a few days during the festival, and that's how it started. And we recently did a live registration of Cash Spirit for Dekmantel Connects. And at first, we actually were a bit hesitant because we felt that our audiovisual show is something that you really have to witness in person instead of it having a registration of it online. But when Dekmantel asked for it and we knew that it would be properly like registered and documented, then we decided to go for it, and it worked out really nice.
Nice, cool. Um, so, you know, what are you looking forward after the ease of restrictions? So, what are you looking forward that it goes back to normal? And, is there something that you wish, and I mean this in the club scene
Hmm.
and in the industry, is there anything that you actually don't want it to go back to normal?
This is a difficult question, but I'll try to answer.
No wrong answers.
I think because of the pandemic, the club scene in general is very reliant on the local scenes, which I think is a very beautiful thing. Like people who maybe before did not get like a prime time slot, for example, they got chances like this in order to fulfill like a certain program, to fill up a certain program, and that they got these chances to prove themselves, and that they show that they can actually play and really do a good job. And these opportunities, I feel, are really nice for the local scene and for growing artists. And I hope that after the pandemic ends, that we still will do that and support the local artists and the smaller artists and the ones that are upcoming still. So instead of like booking just like the big headlines in order to fill the clubs, know like what you have around you in your surroundings. And I would wish for that to stay when the pandemic is over.
Right, right. Okay. And what are you really looking forward that goes back to normal? Is there anything? Not really.
Well, I'm looking for sport to something that goes back to normal. Well, I would love to party, definitely. I really miss being in a club, just to feel the bass like in your stomach when you walk inside is something that I really miss. But also the interactions that you have, the spontaneous interactions that you have with people when you're somewhere, just having random conversations
Yeah.
about small things, but also very interesting topics is something that I really miss. And I think when everything, well, not everything, but when the clubs are open again, I think that everyone will be very appreciative and more grateful, I think, of these times that,
Yeah.
yeah, that we used to take for granted, I think, in a way.
I did. I'm guilty of that.
Yeah, I can understand. And yeah, I think, yeah, I think that's
Yeah.
mainly.
Yeah, I miss the spontaneity of normal day. It just feels like everything has to be programmed and arranged, you know?
Yeah, exactly. I have that also when I meet up with my friends. I tell them like, okay, I have a place like in 2 weeks on Thursday because all the other days are I'm doing something else. Or yeah, it has to be more planned instead of that you just go and be like, hey, what's up? I don't know. It could be that easy still to hang out with your friends in that way, but for some reason I feel that I'm more in a scheduling mood or something
Yeah.
because of all this. Yeah, and just random going somewhere or meeting up somewhere
Yeah.
is not something that really happens. You have to think beforehand, where am I going? What am I going to do?
Yeah.
Can we eat outside? Can we not eat outside? Or yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, so much things that we have to think about that we never cared about before.
Yeah, exactly. And now we have to think about them and it feels kind of sad sometimes.
Too much thinking. um, all right, so it was super nice to talk with you, and I have one last question.
All right.
Um, yeah, it's just if you want to leave any message or encouragement or advice for people that feel really passionate about music but are in one way or another sort of marginalized and have a
Mhm.
harder time getting there, like, do you have any message or advice for them?
Um, I think I'd love to tell them that there is a place out there for you, you know? And even though it might seem difficult right now, I think it's important to stay true to yourself and what you would like, and how you would envision your future or your career or where you want to move to. And if you keep working on your craft and just, yeah, believe in yourself and also find people around you that support you, there is a whole community out there and there are people that will support you. So please don't feel like you're on your own or something. Reach out to people. Um, like the internet makes it very easy to reach out to people. And I also read all the messages that, for example, get sent or something. Like if you also like if you're making music and you're like a marginalized from a marginalized group, feel free to send your music over, and I would love to play it and I will check it out. And yeah, know that there are people out there also there to support you, and please continue doing so. And even though that there are not a lot of role models out there, I feel that there are more and more role models paving the ways. But also, don't be afraid to pave these waves on these ways for yourself. And yeah, we'll receive you with open arms.
All right. Well, that was a really beautiful answer. So, yes, guys, for the ones who stick through us throughout the whole broadcast, thank you so much. It was such a lovely day, and I think we all enjoyed it. So, yeah, thank you very much, Lynn,
Of
for
course, thank
coming.
you. It was a great, amazing day with great streams, and yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Bye bye.